My name is Wilfred Omondi. I work with the British High Commission as an advisor on artificial intelligence and emerging technologies. So I'll be able to share a little bit of what I do or what we do at the High Commission. But it's an honor today to be here with you within or amongst very bright people in the room who are trying to make artificial intelligence work. And I say smart because probably you do have quite a number of lines of codes, more than the number of passwords I've forgotten. And in addition to that, we're also in a room with very, very kind people who are willing to support. So if you're not in development, then you're willing to support. And these are people who will not get annoyed every time the computer asks them to prove that they are human beings. So thank you so much for being here today. When I was asked to speak today, I was to share the work that we do at the High Commission. So that would revolve around three things: building AI, strengthening AI ecosystem, strengthening institutions, and also building on collaborations. So I'll be able to highlight what we do in those contexts. But just before I do that, why does AI matter? I think that's a question that we all need to ask ourselves. Why does AI matter? The first thing is that we all agree that it's shaping how things are being done, whether it's how we farm, how we bank, how we demonstrate, how we express ourselves, and even how we are able to diagnose diseases. But the beauty of it is that we all agree that AI is able to transform economies. Do you all agree on that? Is AI able to transform economies? Yes, but how is that possible to happen? Personally, I do believe that AI is able to transform economies, but only if we have the right people, the right ecosystem, the right institution, and the right partnerships in place. So for today, as you are going to be writing your algorithms and all that, it's very important that you ensure that what you do is designed to ensure it's inclusive, as Gordon has mentioned, it's ethical, it's responsible, and it's a future-proof system that is able to drive development. So what exactly do we do at the High Commission around AI? Before I delve into that, I'd also like to share that when we think of AI within the British High Commission, there are 4 pillars that guide us, or 4 attributes. So the first attribute, when you speak about AI, is ensuring that it's responsible. So what do I mean by responsible AI? Or what are some of the facets of this responsible AI? So we are talking about accountability, we are talking about transparency, we are talking about fairness, we are talking about non-discrimination, we are talking about privacy, we are talking about security, we are talking about inclusion, and we are talking about sustainability. Okay? So that's the first thing, or the first attribute that guide our talks at the British High Commission. The second thing that we talk about is ethical AI. So what do I mean by that? Again, we are talking about human-centered. So these are tools that are just facilitating our work. We need to ensure that whatever we do, we have human beings at the center of it. So human-centered, we need to ensure that there is equity. We need to ensure that there is justice. We need to ensure that our models are explainable. We need to ensure that our models don't have bad motives or maleficence. And we also need to ensure that there is autonomy. In other words, at the end of the day, regardless of the system that we build around AI, then human beings still have a say around it. Okay? So that is the second aspect of attribute in terms of what we consider. The third thing, of course, is about sustainability, ensuring that whatever we do is sustainable. And then the final thing is around scalability. We'd like to be able to build systems or use cases that then we can be able to scale. And this cuts across all the cycles of AI, whether we are talking about its development, whether we are talking about its deployment, or whether we are talking about its usage. So those key 4 principles are very important to us whenever we are having a discussion around AI. So with those, so what do we do exactly at the High Commission? Our work is structured around 3 points. So the first one is ecosystem strengthening. The second one is institutional strengthening. And then the third one is building collaborations around Kenya and the UK. So that is very, very key for us. For us to be able to achieve that, we consider AI as an ecosystem, and we look at the various AI systems that we can be able to support in terms of strengthening. So we are talking about data as a very important bit to AI development. We are looking at compute power in terms of being able to run the AI systems. We are looking at the algorithms that, of course, are the engines behind the decisions that are made. We are looking at talent. Do we have the correct talent to be able to help us develop all the aspects of AI? And then last but of course not least is the bit of governance. And I'd like to make it very clear that when we talk about governance, we are not talking about regulations, okay? So anytime you mention governance, then some people start thinking about regulations of how to put regulations on how to use AI, and it's majorly because of the bad experiences that we've seen, a few bad experiences that we've seen. And I'll be coming back later to expound on that. But ideally, when you talk about governance, we are looking at frameworks that would ensure that this technology is able to support us in terms of innovation. We are looking at statements of principles. We are looking at, of course, regulations, because at the end of the day, we are within a jurisdiction. So that forms part of governance, but it's not only regulations. Okay, so I'd like to first, as I mentioned, we have 3 pillars that we work on: ecosystem strengthening, institutional strengthening, and building collaborations. So I'll start with the first one, which is strengthening the ecosystem. So how are we able to do this? So we believe that in Kenya is a key player, first of all, within the region. If you look at government's objective is to make sure that Kenya is a regional hub, not only for artificial intelligence development, but as well as innovation. So with that background, then we believe that being able to support Kenya to be a regional hub on artificial intelligence is very key. So we try to support that in various ways. First of all is knowledge exchange. Secondly is ensuring that there is good governance structure around AI. We're also looking at data quality standards framework, as well as AI standards. So those are some of the things that we've done. When we talk about knowledge exchange, we were able to take some key policy makers from Kenya to the UK just to try and understand what exactly is going on. When they came, I'll also be able to share some of the fruits of the result of that knowledge exchange trip. We also support the government in developing AI statements of principles. This is a document that was shared with the public for consumption when we had an AI convening in January, late January. We're also looking at data quality standards framework. So we know that data is a very important bit when it comes to developing AI systems. So how can you be able to ensure that you have good data quality to support innovations around AI? And then the last bit is AI standards, where we are working with the Kenya Bureau of Standards to be able to develop AI standards within the Kenyan ecosystem. Of course, as we are moving forward, we are aligning the support that we are doing within the ecosystem strengthening so that we map it with the AI systems that I spoke of earlier, which includes data, algorithms, governance, and all that. When we come to institutional strengthening, it's not just a buzzword. For us, it means we understand that it's the backbone of anything that is going to thrive within the AI ecosystem. Without strong governance, without ethical guidelines, and without adequate capacity, then AI will not be able to be used effectively, and it could also be used to drive exclusion rather than drive inclusion. So what are some of the areas that we are looking at in terms of institutional strengthening? So we have collaborated with the judiciary. We are looking at how judiciary can be able to incorporate AI to help them in their operations. So that is work that is ongoing. We're also partnering with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics to be able to support them with some of the bottlenecks that they're facing. And then, of course, with the universities around collaborations on how to conduct research. Again, of course, we are still looking at ways in which we can be able to scale this up. So we are planning to engage the ODPC because they are very important when it comes to data. We haven't done enough work in terms of collaborating with the universities. So we are looking at strengthening that, and I'm glad that there are students from DECUT here with whom we work very, very closely with their professors, I think 4 or 3 of them. So that is work that we are still doing. In addition to that, we're also looking at providing technical support. That is now through collaborations. So that is on institutional strengthening. So I'd like to move to the last bit, which is collaboration. And the collaboration, as you know very well, Kenyans love tea, the Britons love tea. But with a biscuit or a cookie, it's always a good, perfect match. But when we talk about collaboration for us, it's not just about tea and cookies. It's more than that. So we rely on the fact that Kenya and the UK have had a very strong partnership, but we believe that AI is going to help us even strengthen that collaboration further. So some of the initiatives that we do around this, of course, is around AI Challenge Fund that I'll be able to speak to in a short while. But when we talk about AI Challenge Fund, then we are looking at collaborations between Kenyan institutions and the UK institutions like Alan Turing, just to be able to support in terms of knowledge sharing or technical expertise exchange. We're also looking at businesses partnering together to be able to support the Kenyan startups in terms of exploring opportunities around AI. And then the last bit, of course, is knowledge exchange programs, where we are trying to work with policymakers and researchers to ensure that we have ethical frameworks developed and actually put in practice in Kenya. So how do we put all this together? I'll just give a case in point of what we've seen work. That is the AI Challenge Fund. So this AI Challenge Fund is a fruit of the knowledge exchange program that we ran last year, where we took policymakers to the UK to learn about the ecosystem. When they came back, some of the recommendations was to be able to put a very small fund to support some of the use cases that are in Kenya. So this use case was launched last year in 2024 November. So it's a fairly new and young challenge. The objective was to be able to advance AI capabilities while prioritizing safety, ethics, and inclusive development. So again, the fund, based on the small ticket it has, is just to ensure that we're able to build confidence around concepts, also just lowering risk. And then the last thing that is very, very important, if you scan across the Kenyan landscape, and by extension, say Africa, most of the time you'll find that there are no very good use cases around AI. What people see most are the bad things that happen, and that is what are published. So for instance, if you mention AI, say in a government office, then what they know is that AI is used to generate pictures of people in coffins, and that's why the technology is risky. But rarely do you find a very good use case that is equally publicized as the bad things that we've seen. So again, this use case was to be able to change that narrative so that we are able, if we get into a room and we are discussing about AI as a technology which is able to help us or support us in some of the things we are struggling with, then we have very solid use cases that we are able to present. So that is a very important key aspect of the AI challenge, the AI Challenge Fund. The other thing is that to boost collaboration, each and every AI challenge that we are supporting or use case that we are supporting must have a UK partner, okay? So we are building that bridge where institutions in Kenya are able to collaborate with the institutions in the UK. So within that challenge fund, so far we have 10 use cases. This revolves around AI research, they revolve around ethics, they revolve around standards development, as well as AI safety networks. I'll just mention a few of them. Of course, some were mentioned by my colleague. So one of them is around statistical data access through AI. And this we are doing in collaboration between Kenya National Bureau of Statistics and the Office of National Statistics in the UK. So they are counterpart bodies, KNBS in Kenya, ONS in the UK. And what we are trying to do is, first of all, is ensure that there is capacity built between the teams, and then the second thing is knowledge transfer. So out of that, as Jordan mentioned, we have been able to build a chatbot and a search tool that will be able to help any users across the country and outside to be able to get information that KNBS always publishes. So we understand that KNBS, either on a quarterly or an annual basis, they publish reports around economic outlook in Kenya. So if you'd like to know, say, inflation rate in Kenya in 2022 August, you'll have to go through all the documents that they've produced up to then, and then you read maybe through a 100-page PDF document. So what this tool would be able to help with is, instead of going through that tedious exercise, you simply type in your question and then you're able to get a response, of course with linkages to where the exact document is. The other thing is, the second use case, of course, is empowering persons with disabilities and all the citizens who sometimes are neglected, and we are building an AI-driven approach to enhancing access to essential services. So again, as you understand, with the government's initiative called BETA, they are looking at moving government services online, but not everyone is able or has the right skills to be able to access those services. So what we are doing with this tool is we are enabling persons with disabilities and senior citizens to be able to easily access such kind of services. The other one, of course, is AI adoption in the judiciary, where we are working with the judiciary in Kenya as well as a counterpart in the UK to be able to build a roadmap on how Kenyan judiciary can be able to implement AI within its operation. The other one is federated learning for neglected tropical disease, classification with limited data. Again, looking at classification of diseases and detection, one of the use cases is working on that, being able to use federated learning to try and sort that out. The last one that I'd like to mention is developing a data quality and ethical framework for AI readiness in Kenya, again, based off the understanding that data is a very key important bit of AI systems. So how the innovators in the room can be able to take that and put it into context. So this hackathon is not just a sprint to build the best AI tool, it's a step towards building an ecosystem where AI works for everyone. What you create today and here could be the blueprint of how maybe a smallholder farmer is able to predict climate shocks and plan appropriately and therefore evading losses. Or an SME being able to optimize their businesses through data insights that they have. But do remember that the code that you write today and for the next coming 3 days might be the power of the next great thing in the Kenyan innovation ecosystem, as we knew Safaricom has been the great thing. And if you're not convinced with that, maybe what you'll be able to develop or the insights that you'll be able to have here today could then lead you to at least develop a chatbot that can finally respond to those high messages on WhatsApp with an appropriate response. I believe most of us here in the room, in our WhatsApp messages, you always find a new number texting, hi, right? Yes, so probably that could be an idea of how you are now able to sort that as a solution. But in closing remarks, I believe that collaboration is the future. If there's one thing that you need to take away from this, is that AI is not built in isolation. It's a collaboration. And if we're able to build this collaboration, and the UK government is supporting this through the collaboration between Kenya and the UK to ensure that we're able to strengthen the ties around AI, and that would be able to unlock endless opportunities, not only for people, but as well as partnerships, and we do that with the purpose. So, let us build what we can. Let's think about doing it for good. And as a closing thought, I'd like to ask you to enjoy this hackathon. And for those who will be coding, I do pray that your code will compile on the first run.